When I talked about the introduction to base defense in an earlier topic, I started to talk about some of our coverage checks and what we do. What I want to do now is I'm going to get into all our coverages. And remember, when I talk coverages, I'm talking about 1/3 of our defense. Because 1/3 of our defense is coverage, 1/3 of our defense is zone pressure, and 1/3 of our defense are man pressures. So what I'm going to do, and I've broken this down into a couple of new parts. I got some updated films. I'm going to teach you some of the things that I really like. And I'm going to tell you what's been good for us and some things we need to work on too. Number one is we've evolved from an 8-man front robber defense to a split coverage defense. Okay? We would like to present an attack that has enough tools in the toolbox to help defend everything we see. We want to have coverages, zone pressures, and man pressures. I think it's important when we talk defense that defense isn't won on the chalkboard. It's based on the effort of coaches and players. Coaching defense is hard. It's very hard. Playing defense is hard. You got to be perfect. You got to work so hard because the passing games and the RPOs and all that crap that you see every week is so difficult. If your kids and you do not give it the unbelievable attention to detail that it needs, you're going to be awful on defense. Total preparation is totally important. You have to have an unyielding demand for effort and technique. And the other thing is we're at a point in time now in football where on the defensive side, we got to trust our athletes like the offensive guys do. We got to give our kids the tools to play the chess game with the offensive kids who are playing the chess game. Some of the things we're doing in our 4-2-5 defense for general things. We are split coverage versus 10, 11, and 12 personnel. If you come out in 21 personnel, it's old school G defense. Our defensive linemen are 1-gap technique players. Our linebackers are 2-gap players. When we play coverage, man, if we can ever get into the old 2 deep 500 robber coverage, we're so excited. But we are a pressure team. We pressure by alignment, movement, and blitz. All right, things to keep in mind. A defensive toolbox needs to have all the tools. Coverage, zone pressures, man pressures. The tools must be utilized. Equal balance creates offensive indecision. All I'm going to tell you, if you're a big zone defensive man guy, that's fine. You can't be afraid to play man coverage because zone defense is glorified man defense. Maybe you don't like to hear this. Maybe when you play cover 3 or whatever you play, quarters coverage, maybe you don't want to hear this, okay? But when their really good wide receiver runs a takeoff route in cover 3, your corner's in man for man. You might sleep better on Sunday, but zone defense can be turned into glorified man to man. Split coverage communications. First digits to the field, second digits to the boundary. And our coverages, we run basically 3, but we can get to 4 easily. We run field 51, we rob to the field. We play man to the boundary. We play field 52, we rob to the field, we cloud to the boundary. We play field 41, where we play read coverage to the field and man to the boundary. And we can play read coverage to the field and cloud to the boundary. We have all those tools in the toolbox, all right? And for us to be successful, we talk about having a no-huddle defense, man. All the offenses are no-huddle. We're no-huddle on defense, too. It's not as glamorous, but we're no-huddle on defense. We have to, or we couldn't practice with ourselves. And when you're a no-huddle defense, man, you've got to be on the same page. And if you're a backup kid, you better know what's going on, because if you come in the game and you don't know what's going on, well, everybody doesn't know what goes on, and we're not very good. We auto-check, okay? We'll use it each play. It's all about leadership and ownership. And everybody has to have an understanding on how the coverage works. And I talked about this earlier. And here's my thought process. Stay with me. I think this is good, okay? If we are in a coverage, and what I mean by a coverage is zone coverage, all right? We are going to play 51, 52, 41, or 42. And what I'm going to tell you is no matter what the call is, 51, 52, or 41, if you line up with 2 in the backfield, I'm going to play cover 5. I've done it since 1989. I'm not changing. It was built to beat the I formation, okay? If you line up an empty, I'm going to play Vern. Vern is mini 2. It's too deep, over 10 players, manning the widest guy on the field. You know why I like it? The middle of the field hole is small. My inside linebackers play the inside kids like robber coverage. And I got presses on both sides. I'm playing cover 2 over 2/3 of the field. I really like it versus empty. And if you put 3 into the boundary, I'm going to run Crazy Ivan. Is it perfect? No, but it's pretty damn good. So that allows me to call my defense if you come out in 2x2 or 3x1 to the field. And my first coverage is 51. It's 5 to the field. It's man to the boundary. If you come out in 3x1, it is still robber to the field, man to the boundary, and my spur on the backside is going to poach. Sometimes you work my corner over there in 51, and I got to help them out, so I play 52. And in 52, I rob to the field, I cloud to the boundary, meaning I play cover 2 to the boundary. And if you go 3x1, I'm going to play Vern, just like I do against empty, because if you're working my corner or you're working my boundary, I want a hard corner into the boundary. Well, if you go 3x1, I'm not going to give you what you want. I'm not going to give you what you want. And if you go 2x2 and we got 41 in, all right, we'll play read coverage to the field and we'll man to the boundary. And if you go 3x1, we can run what's called evil. Evil is read coverage with our spur and our free safety, and our corner or man's the widest guy. Now, I'm going to get into 51. We play a ton of it. I'm not going to lie. If I have a good corner, I'm going to play a ton of it. Okay, I've had good corners the last 2 years. We've played a ton of it. The year before, I had an okay corner. We played a lot of 52. All right? Here's what we want to do. We got to teach our kids to line up. And no matter if you're in a zone coverage, you're in a man coverage, no matter what you're in, I want to line up the same all the time. So we want to line up the same every time. We take our corner, we line them up over the top of number 1, 7 yards deep, 1 yard inside of them. All right? On the cadence, he works to 9 yards deep, 2 yards inside. My free safety, 11 yards deep, walks down to 9. If this guy is displaced, if he's displaced, we walk him down so his heels are at 9 yards, splitting the difference between the end man on the line of scrimmage and number 2, calling an apex. Our backers will minus. So when we look at the boundary, at different times we move the depth of the corners, okay? You've heard me talk about 6 yards, 5.5 yards, 8 yards. Here's the deal. If we're going to play a lot of 52, we play them at 8 yards before they start to move. If we're playing a lot of 51, we play them at 5 yards before they move. It just helps them out a little. It doesn't matter. You can do it either way, but that's why there's some discrepancy. All right, but they do start over the top of number 1 and 2, from 5.5 to 8 yards deep, depending on how you want to play that. All right, and when we get there, I want them to stay there. Okay, I want them to show that. I tell them all the time, strike the pose. That means show your disguise. Strike the pose before you move. All right? Now, in robber coverage, here's how we're going to teach this baby. Okay? My spur is a easy support player, and he is a buzz flat run wheel defender. We call it perimeter match. My spur. My free safety is going to rob 2. All right, we've talked about that some. If 2 is vertical, 6 yards, he has him wherever he goes. And my corner is the half-field defender. The tricky guy is the backer. The backer reads cross pull the guard tackle bubble to the tailback. And what happens a lot of times, okay, is people try to run this guy vertical down the field. If your guy is keying correctly and he doesn't read a cross pull, his eye should be on him, Philly. And when he goes vertical, Philly, you have him man for man. Philly's my backer, okay? And I love him. He's like the second smartest kid in the school. I think the first smartest kid might be the Mike backer, but he's like a 4.7 with like a 7,000 on the ACT, SAT combined. He's a genius. But what he does is when he gets past, he just sort of floats like he's a zone dropper. And sometimes they sneak on him. He's got to do a better job with that because he has to rob 3 after his keys. All right, on the man side, as the cadence starts, my corner is going to come down to press, and I play my wolf at like 5.5 unless he's an exceptional cover kid. All right, cover 5 responsibilities. That field corner's deep half, man. He's a half read player. Do not give up the post. My spur's a perimeter match player, buzz flat, run wheel, and my free and backer are pattern reads defenders. Let's talk about that corner in the half read. He aligns at 7-1. He gets to 9-2. He works for depth, and he reads number 2 back to 1. He plays on top of all vertical routes. You never give up the post. If they're both vertical, stay on top of one. Stay on top of both. Favor 1. 2's got the robber. If two voids, squeeze 1. If 1 void, squeeze 2. Okay? There's his pre-snap alignment. There's his creep. He gets the releases. My corner's working for depth. He's working to favor 1. He's reading 1 back to 2. They're both vertical. Now, when you see it, you see there's the help of the free safety. And if they throw to number 2, you can still get off because that quarterback's going to have to touch it over the top. If 1 stops being a vertical threat, he opens and he squeezes 2. We have this kid bracketed now. All right? It's unbelievably good for us. All right? Now, if number 1 disappears and 2 is vertical, we bracket it. If number 2 breaks to the corner, you got a chance to bait and go get that ball. If they cross, you cannot give up the post, and the free safety has the corner. And the free safety has the corner route because number 2 is vertical after 6 yards. Now, you're in your half read. Number 2 disappears. When number 2 disappears, you have number 1 man for man. That guy runs a dig. Go compete with a dig. Don't get your ass back here in half field coverage now. Why would you do that? They're going to throw the dig in behind your ear. Okay? Once 2 disappears, he's yours man for man. Perimeter match player, spur, buzz flat, run wheel. All right? We want to take our spur, and if they run double hitch, he better get underneath us. The free has the inside receiver. Okay? He's got to find number 1 and undercut the route. Get the ball. All right? If the number 1 disappears, the first thing you do is you look for a new number 1 like an arrow. If it doesn't come, you work back in to play screen and scramble. We call it boxing the formation. If number 2 releases, you're outside on that release. And if he wheels, you're going to thump it, flip it, and run with it. All right? Get after it. Squeeze him body for body. All right, now, free safety reads. He walks down and number 2 goes verticals. He's yours 6 yards. Vertical straight, vertical corner, vertical post. I don't care. It's 6 yards. He's yours all over the place. But, Coach, he ran a dig. He ran his dig at 10 yards. All right, at 6, he's yours all over the place. All right, if number 2 goes out, you rob the curl. It's the man in the curl zone. Okay, it's the man in the curl zone. And if number 2 goes under, he's going to wall the shallow to the dig. If they're running mesh, he can come down on the mesh. If they're running a dig, he drives the dig. Our backer, he also robs. So if he gets that read, number 3 goes vertical, he runs with it. If he's out, he's in the curl. If he's under, he helps on the dig. Once again, the route that people have been starting to attack us with more frequently is the 1 back set with the tailback to the field and putting him vertically up on the backer. All right? Now, the man side. And we've done some changes in here. All right? In the man side, we will play press cutoff man. He has that guy man for man all over the field unless he shallow crosses to the zone side. If he shallow crosses to the zone side, he will release him and play for a cutting crosser. The spur will do the same thing. He is an off man. All right? He will play him man for man unless it's a shallow crosser to the zone side. If it's a shallow crosser to the zone side, he will gather and play for the coming crosser. Our Mike does the same thing. He's man for man on the tailback. If the tailback's away, he's going to cut for the shallow crosser to the dig. So here's an example of that. All right, these guys get man releases, the tailback's away. The tailback's away, that's a Mike's guy. Don't zone drop and let this guy run over and catch the ding ball, Alex, 12 times in a game. Okay, what I want you to do is when that guy goes away, you come down and you wall two, make him come over the top or knock his ass on the ground. Okay, so let's talk some 51 here in coverage. Okay, right over here. Where are they going to attack you? Couple things. They'll oversplit your cover 5 side, so you'll have to play cover 4, all right? Or they'll try to get after your slot. And that's what people tried to do because this kid was kind of a thicker kid. Okay, so here we are. We're in man coverage. We're here. We're robbing 2. We're half read here. Number 2 goes out, and we play that perfectly as we undercut, tip the ball, and it goes to our half-read safety. It was excellent. That was a great play. Okay, here we go. Next play. Next play. They come in, we rotate. They sprint out, get out over it, pull them up. Pretty dang good. Pretty dang good. Okay, now, here we go. Right over here. They're working the spur. They're working the spur. We had good coverage. And it was outstanding for us. Over here. Let's see what I got here. Over here, we're poaching. We got a solo call. My corner's in man coverage down on the boundary. My spur is over the top. He's poaching 3. They sprint out to the boundary. All right, there's no threat. And we're manned up. Pretty good job. Pretty good job. Now, let's talk solo. It's cover 5 here. The backer has 3, and that's a problem right there. That's a problem. They run inside zone, and he slips. You better have help. That's why you can't play regular G defense versus 2x2 anymore. All right? So what's going to happen is this. All right, we're going to let him play cross pull to number 3, cross pull to near back, we got Rob 3. But if this guy runs and he releases vertical, we're going to poach with this kid. We're going to poach and bring him over. We're going to bring him over. We're going to man over here. What's that do? It lets our backer play the run strong and lets us play 4 verticals. Now, what do we tell our spur? Hey, man, this is where we want you to line up. But if number 3's out here and you can't handle him vertical, you better move. You got to handle him vertical. What the spur is going to do is he's going to poach 3. If 3's fast and wide, we look for a new number 3. All right? The other thing that I want to talk to you about is on the man side, if they take that tailback and displace him on the man side, our Mike has to play in a C-split to leverage him, or they're going to work speed option and flare, maybe rub him. You need him to have some width. Don't worry about it. Okay, he'll be fine. All right? So here we go. We got some good film on this. We're 3x1. This is corner poach. Our spurs down in the boundary because they want to match him up. They're always going to try to throw at your boundary spur. Okay? We make a great play, and we come down with the ball. We come down with the ball. All right? It's a corner poach, same as regular. But I liked it because everybody wants to throw at your spur. Everybody wants to throw at your spur. All right? That's why that position has changed over the course of time. That's why that position has changed over the course of time. Let me come back over here a little bit. Let me come back over here. See if I can get the video I want. All right, here we go. Now we're poaching over here. We're poaching over here. Here's my poach player. Here's my man player. They're going to sprint out in the boundary probably. I don't understand it. Okay, not a lot of room to sprint out, but they sprint out in the boundary. We're manned up. Scrambles. We do a good job. You know, it's kind of a broken play. It's kind of a broken play. Crazy Ivan. Crazy Ivan means we're going to play 5 to the boundary and we're going to play 1 to the field. There's a lot of space over here, so if you're the poach player, if you're the poach player, we don't come all the way over. We get a little bit more width because 3's got to come to you. It's still the same. You're reading 3, you're going to poach it. If 3 is fast to the flat, look for the new number 3. And here's what people did to us last year. On the man side, they make all this grass space out here, and my young linebacker all right, played with his foot here instead of playing in the C gap, all right? So what they did is they made him come over and poach. They made him come over and poach, and they flared him, or they ran over there. That's fine, okay? What's that telling me is we're not running enough zone pressure and spinning him down too. So here we go. Let's take a look at this, okay? Now, we're in 5 into the boundary. Okay, we call it Crazy Ivan, all right? Spurs down. Philly has gotten the message from his coach. You better get over here, okay? That's my weak side spur. Caleb's a great cover kid. He's better than this kid. I'm not going to move him. I'm not gonna give that too much credit. And what's going to happen is they're going to run the ball to the field or throw it to the field. And my corner comes up, we come off the block, and that's a great play. Now, I'm going to tell you what. It is a great play, and it's -2. But you know why it's a great play? Because they did it twice before, and they were +14, +6, because we didn't get lined up right. All right? And that's one of the things in Crazy Ivan that you got to remember. You got to make sure this guy's leverage. The free safety shouldn't be over the hash. He's a little bit tight. They throw the flare, and we are out and running. That's my 5 technique, great effort. Okay, here we go. Here we go. We saw that corner poach. Let's see what we got coming up over here. Let's see what we got over here. Yeah, here's the Crazy Ivan again, where my young man isn't lined up right. Watch where Philly is. They got him leveraged. Watch this. They're going to throw the ball out here, and this you're going to be late. And now we're in trouble. It's a great scheme they put in. And everybody ran it, and we defended it pretty well the rest of the year. Okay? I think this is the second one we learned on. Didn't quite learn yet. But that's part of the process. Young linebackers. 3-by-1, bunch set. Okay? Just Crazy Ivan. Run to the ball. Make them run out of bounds. What a compliment to your defense. I don't want to deal with you. I'm going to lose 2 yards and run out of bounds. Okay, playing empty. We play a lot of what we call Vern. We want to man the widest receiver and forget about him. So we make it a 10-on-10 game. And then we're going to play old school 10, use our field spur, our bear, as a funnel player, and play cover 2 over 10. And when we say cover 2 over 10, we mean we're going to play 2 deep coverage over 2/3 of the field. And our linebackers will rob the inside kids. This is why I like this coverage so much. Okay? We got this guy manned. Forget him. Funnel 2. And then you're going to play half coverage over these 10. Well, when we used to play cover 2, that middle of the field hole was huge. Heck, they invented Tampa 2 to take it away. Well, what if we stop the width by playing him man, and then we rob the inside guys with Mike and Backer? Well, go ahead and run him at the hole. Okay, run him at the hole. Run this guy at the hole. I got a guy running with him. It's easy peasy. And there's not a big hole to run at. You can strict the fade holes. This guy should move over almost to here on the snap. All right? If they come this way, we funnel here, we match here, we funnel, and we're in half. It's a great deal. 4-by-1 to the field. Funnel, match, match. 4-by-1 to the boundary is a little sticky. And here's what I want to talk to you about. Okay? We're going to put in 4-by-1 to the boundary. We're going to take our Mike and put him halfway between 2 and 3. We are going to take our backer, and put him halfway between 3 and 4. Okay? And we are going to take our spur, and we are going to step him back now behind that tackle. All right? And if someone comes across the formation, he will jump it. We will play half over the other guys. Here's the only thing I'm going to tell you, okay? The reason I don't pull him all the way into the box is in case this guy takes off and runs. All right? So here we are. We're going to see some of them. Some of these we move our coverage because they're going to run speed sweep, but some of them we're not. This one we had to move our coverage because it's empty power read. All right, this is from about 4 years ago when we first started running this coverage. This is really good. And what I mean by that is they think we're running Robert over here. They do. Okay? And they're going to try to work the man side. We're matched up. We got people covered. He should run with that more. Okay? But he didn't know where to go with the ball because I don't think they knew the coverage. It was the first time we had run it. Okay? They run power read play action. We match up and play 51 with a poach out on the motion, and we get the pick. Okay? Here they are, same thing. Power read goes nowhere. All right, now. See, my man Frenchie down here, he's not very confident. Okay, so we let him play off. So they're trying to scan and call the play. What coverage is this to you? Okay, is it cover 5? Maybe robbing him to him? Possibly. But it's not. It's cover 2 with a man player. Doesn't look like it. That's why I like it. Okay? See, they just threw a speed cut into a rolled corner. We should have picked it. Had he been a little bit quicker, we'd have picked that ball. It's still a great play, but we'd have picked that ball. Okay? Here we are against an empty team. They're not very good, so I'm not going to run a lot of cuts. But they spread us out pretty good. All right? So he should move over here. He's a backup in the game. We're man here. We're zone over the top. Same thing over here. All right? Playing 21 personnel. All we do is when we see 21 is we play cover 5. And guys, it is just like we've done it for 1,000 years. Okay, I'm going to just teach it from the film. I love this. So here they are. Man, this is like old school week. Our kids are looking around like, what's going on? They got 2 in the backfield. Yeah, they do. Okay, we're playing easy support on both sides, half read, and we're robbing the tight end. Our backers are in minus, and we are like happy as pigs in poop. Let's go, man. Let's go. You want to line up and play this? Beautiful. This is how the defense was designed. Not fooling us. It's what we do. All right? Cover 5. It's what we do. Okay, here we are again. Okay? Tight ends over here. Free safeties in the nest. We're in home base. Spur. Run ISO, spill it. Dude, that looks like it's 1990 all over again. They run ISO, bam! We hit it to the free hitter. Come on. Let's all go back and play football that way. Okay, I'd love that. All right, but oh no, you guys got to spread it out. Johnny Sweater Vest, Mr. Visor's got to do that. Okay, so I appreciate it very much.